Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, here it is. Finally, the review on the Walmart knife that I picked up. Now, this is the first knife I picked up. It's an Ozark trail knife. I saw this on the display in the hunting slash outdoor section of Walmart, my Walmart anyway, way before the holiday season. Okay, there's a display there, and there's about, I want to say, 4 different designs that were all $3.97. Okay, very, very affordable. Anyone can pick this up. Now, I was really intrigued because I was used to the Walmart Ozark trail knife that was $1.99, I think, or maybe it was even 99 cents for a while, and that thing was just complete garbage. Horrible plastic handle. I never actually did a full review on it, but I did buy one out of curiosity. Just never got around to filming that. In fact, the handle actually broke on me. I should have made a video on it. But that was of yesteryear. That was months and months, actually more than a year ago. But I was kind of intrigued. I saw it there. I'm like, you know, $3.97. Can't beat it. I have to see. For $3.97, they got my money for my curiosity. So I picked it up and pulled it out of the packaging. You guys saw that video, and I was impressed. I really was. For $4, I was very impressed. Now, I kind of want to suggest or refer that you guys watch the first video. My first impression video is kind of like the first half of this review, because a lot of my first impressions stayed the same. Okay. One thing that I really liked about this knife is actually getting use on it. It got pretty smooth. Very smooth. And the lockup is fantastic. There is no play. I almost expect, especially for any 4L knife, to have a little bit of side to side. Okay, there's nothing here. Obviously, up and down or vertical play is very important. That's something you can't easily adjust. Side to side sometimes can be taken out with, just tensioning your pivot screw. But yeah, I mean, it locks up nice. It is a liner lock. Okay, you can see the lock up there. One problem though is when you slam this thing home, it sticks. You hear that? You hear how it's popping? Now, I don't normally do that, but for testing purposes, I did, and it sticks a little bit, okay? Under normal use, obviously just opening and closing it, never had a problem at all. Using the flipper, sometimes if I give it just a little bit of wrist, because I don't always do that, but if I give it just a little bit of wrist, sometimes after I'm using it, it'll actually pop, okay? So a little bit of stiffness in the liner lock there, not a huge deal, certainly worth mentioning. One thing I really like about this a lot is that most really, cheap knives, when I say cheap, I'm kind of referring to like $10 and less knives, sub $10 knife. A lot of times I have problems with these thumb studs. This has ambidextrous thumb studs on it. Not only are they large enough to use comfortably, which I greatly appreciate, because a lot of times they're pyramid, I call them pyramid, but they're kind of, stepped up. So the base part is fatter, then skinnier and skinnier. Kind of looks like, I don't know, the hat from Devo, from Whip It. But anyway, yeah, a lot of times that gets very pointy and very uncomfortable. Okay, so the fact that it's wider, very nice. The fact that it's ambidextrous, awesome. But most importantly, it's not wiggling on me. Okay, sometimes these things, right out of the box, they're loose, and there's no way to tighten them, So good job on this one that it's nice and tight. Okay, so as far as the mechanics, the functionality of the knife, pretty good. I like it. It's not really centered. Not a huge deal, but honestly, for a 4L knife, that ain't bad. In fact, it's changed. I'm looking at it right now. I was literally just looking at it about 20 minutes ago, and it was like this, off to the side just a little bit. Now it actually seems almost like it's way more centered than it was before, so definitely inconsistent. However, it's not rubbing on either side of the liner, okay, which is very nice. As far as ergonomics on this, to me, again, it's a $4 knife, so, the finishing step you would take on, most knives is not there, obviously, okay? To make it a $4 knife, there has to be minimal procedures done throughout the production of this knife, okay? So, in other words, what would make this knife better is if they went around and all of the corners here were taken off, okay, with a buffing wheel, because it's a little uncomfortable, a little sharp. And if you notice on the tail end, you can see how that flares out on both sides. Yeah, that's not very comfortable at all. A lot of sharp edges, so to speak. But that's another step. So that would take this from a $4 knife to maybe a $6 knife. And then you do another step, and that makes it a $20 knife. And you do 3 more steps, and it makes it a $50 knife, That's the difference between really affordable or cheap knives and expensive knives. It's all those details. It's not just materials. Some people think that if you use D2 or 154 CM, that's why a knife is $50, or because it has carbon fiber, it's $100. No, that's not necessarily the whole picture here. Obviously, materials do make a difference in material costs, but a lot of it has to do with production costs. Okay, all the different steps, especially, you know, finishing steps. Okay, so for $4, I'm not expecting this thing to be the most ergonomic thing ever. However, I'm pretty impressed. Nice finger control on here. Okay, you can see, you know, a little bit of jimping on that liner lock, so it's easy to get to. It does actually make a difference. I used to not care about that too much, but a little bit of texture in there for liner locks. It's pretty nice. If I give a overhead view here, you can see it pokes out just a little, so as your thumb sweeps over, it's easy to grab. Okay, I had no problems, you know, catching that. Sometimes even on expensive knives, they go for a sleek look, you know, as in the liner lock, and they don't do anything like that. And believe it or not, sometimes it's a little bit harder to get to. I've experienced that on some Emersons before. But yeah, as far as the actual knife, I mean, I talked about this in first impressions too. It's a free flowing knife or flow through design. A couple standoffs here. Nothing decorative or anything, just simple, you know, tubing. The handle material, I mean, the handle design rather, it's nice and even all the way up to here. And then we just kind of have a random, I don't know what that is. I mean, I like to see a little more consistency with the design because you have this big flat spot. It's on both sides. It's just kind of random. It's so nice all the way up to here. Why flare out that way? They should have just kept this all the way at the top, but I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something there. But yeah, lockup's fine. Ergonomics are okay. I do wish it was bigger. That's not, it shouldn't be a hit on the knife though, because there's all different size knives. Just because a knife's small, you can't say, oh, well, this knife's not that good because, you know, my hand's too big for it. Well, you know what I mean? That knife wasn't for you. It shouldn't be a hit on the knife as far as size. But for me personally, you could see finger control catches that pointer finger, middle finger and ring finger land where they're supposed to, and then there's this little slope that comes down where your pinky's supposed to rest, but I feel like I'm missing something. Unfortunately, there's no lanyard hole on here, so I can't throw any kind of you know, braided lanyard on there, which would give me that extra, you know, grip. But not a big deal. I didn't have any real problems using the knife, other than, you know, a little uncomfortable. Not that big of a deal. All right, so let's talk about this blade a little bit here. Yeah, not a fan of the blade per se. I don't, like, I'll take a drop point or a recurve blade. I mean, so many different blade profiles before I would take just a short stubby Tanto or Tanto blade, and especially with a combo edge on here. Now, serrations definitely have a place in the world of cutlery, okay? But I say if you're gonna go serrated, go all out. Okay, balls to the wall, get yourself a cold steel model, fully serrated, like the, you know, Vaquero Grande or maybe one of the Voyager models, fully serrated, the Code 4, fully serrated. You know, that's where you want to be if you want that aggressive cutting action, okay? The partially serrated blade, or combo edge as a lot of people call it, I don't want to say it's gimmicky, but it's certainly on a lot of more affordable knives because it's aggressive looking. That's all it is. It's a marketing thing. It's, wow, that looks extra sharp. That's sharp. That looks sharper. You know what I mean? If you have a lot of experience with knives, you obviously understand it a little bit better. But to the average consumer, the average person walking around Walmart, some guy or even a girl happens to stumble across a knife section. If you look at the Walmart knife section, the vast majority of those blades are combo edge. I don't think there's one fully serrated blade in that whole store. If you're going to do serrations, you need a long run of them. That's my personal opinion. Plenty of people use these, you know, with ease. Now, I will say this about this knife, and I think I know why. It's not just marketing, but I think I know why there's combo edges on these cheaper knives. Is because the actual, you know, straight edge portion of this blade dulled out fairly quickly. That was definitely an assumption that I had, and it didn't let me down. It lasted all of about 15 minutes of cutting. Okay, and even that was kind of a surprise to me. So when this dulled up, this was still nice and sharp. Okay, so I was able to chew, let's just call it, chew through some cardboard with the serrated portion of this blade. However, I will say I'm proud of Ozark Trail for not making this a chisel ground blade. Whoa, look at that. Thank you, God, because I am not a fan of chisel ground blades, at least not in this type scenario. Chisel ground blades they have their purpose as well, but you're definitely going to want a quality steel ground blade, again, in my opinion. So the fact they went with a symmetrical grind on this, big A plus, because you're definitely going to need to sharpen this knife. If you buy this and use it, it will get dull fairly quickly, and you will need to sharpen it, okay? So at least now you're going to have an easier time, at least in my opinion, again, to sharpen that blade. I think sharpening chisel ground blades, it's supposed to be easy, but a lot of people have a hard time mastering that, especially on, you know, flat stones. Perhaps I'll do a video on that in the future. People, of course, want more sharpening videos in general, so I'll try to make time for that down the road a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the performance on the blade, $4 worth of performance. Exactly what I was expecting. At the end of the day, it is a knife. You want to use it for its intended purpose to cut things, and it's worth $4. It's definitely worth $4, but you can't expect the world. Overall, definitely one of the better $4 knives out there, I have to say. And without letting the cat out of the bag, I like the other one even more. So there you go. There's the cat, I suppose. So for $4, totally worth it. You know, a lot of people talk about getting beater knives. I get that. You know, you have your expensive knives and stuff, but I still feel like if you're paying a lot for a knife, that should be able to be your quote-unquote beater, because it should be able to handle it without breaking. But of course, if you're performing different types of tasks with your knives, especially your folding knives that they weren't meant for, I'm talking scraping and prying and poking and all kinds of crazy crap. Yeah, that's where the beater knife comes in. That's where the $4 knife comes in. So if you do, oh good lord, if you do pry with your knife and the tip snaps off, you're out $4, not 400 or 100 or 70 or whatever the case may be. All right, even $20 is a lot to a lot of people. Okay, you don't want to break a $20 knife. So the $4 knife, yeah, you can definitely, you don't have to baby this one. You can be a little bit more lenient in what you're using it for. But again, the original saying, you know, get the right tool for the job. But that pretty much concludes it. I mean, it's not rusted yet, which is cool. And, you know, I was able to just touch it up real quick. I'm talking real quick. I literally spent all of 25 seconds on a medium grit stone, and then another 10 seconds quickly on a fine grit, and then I threw it on the strop, couple strokes, and it was good to go. It was sharp enough to get back into cleanly slicing some cardboard. So if you have even amateur sharpening skills, this is totally worth getting. I really think so. There's a lot of different designs out there. I don't know as of yet if they're all the same quality. And that's another thing I want to mention too, is that I happen to like this one a lot. But again, with a $4 price tag and the mass quantity, they must be making hundreds of thousands of these to be able to stock all the Walmarts, all their, you know, Christmas or, you know, holiday sections. I don't even know how many of these things are produced, so you have to expect inconsistencies. For $4, you may get one, and it may be a total piece of junk. And you may go buy another one. You may buy 3 of them, and all 3 of them are completely different in, you know, how the lockup is, how it's centered. You know, little inconsistencies here and there are definitely to be expected. So please keep that in mind. I happen to get lucky and like mine a lot. If you go out and get the same one and you don't like it so much, exchange it for another one, or for $4 buy 2. You know, if you buy 2 of them randomly, I guarantee you're going to be surprised, because when you take them out of the packages, they will be different. One might be a little tighter, one might not lock up quite the same. So yeah, that's definitely to be expected because of the mass quantities of this and the extremely low price. But you know, overall, yeah, go get one. Go get a couple of them. Great to throw in tackle boxes, junk drawers. Not that we all need more stuff in our junk drawer. Usually it gets to a point where it gets stuck. You can't even pull it out. You got to slide something in there and push everything down. But yeah, tackle boxes. These are awesome stocking stuffers. Okay, these are knives that just any old person can use. You know, not everyone wants to spend a lot of money on a knife. There's a lot of people that like knives, kind of, but they don't want to spend any money on them. But if you get them as a gift, they may love them. I know people that have very, very, again, quote unquote, cheap knives, and they could not be happier with them. They don't know the difference between that, you know, and something that's really high end. As long as they're happy with it, as long as they're able to maintain it and they can use it safely, then that's great, you know? So I would definitely say stock up on these for stocking stuffers and Hanukkah gifts and all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, you can afford to do that. That's what's so cool about these, is that, you know, it's decent. It's decent, and it's $3.97. So that's really all I needed to say was, hey, pretty decent for $4. But of course, you guys know me. I like to go into the details. So if you guys have this, and you probably do, post your comments down below, what you thought of yours. If it was inconsistent with what I'm saying in this review, if you had any issues with anything, please let everyone know. I'd love to hear your feedback as well. And stay tuned, because you will see a review on the other khaki/tan one that I got with that stonewash blade. Again, big shout out to Sherman614, Dan. Dan made a video on that and totally suckered me in. So I know how you guys feel when I do the knife reviews and you're like, damn it, now I gotta get that knife. Well, thanks, Dan. I did the same thing with your video. So yeah, I mean, I make videos, but I also watch them. So I saw that, I'm like, oh, when I was at Walmart, I had to go find it, and I did, and obviously made that video. But I love it, and I do like it a little bit more than this one even, just because of the design. But we will see, because I don't have enough use on it yet for a review, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your time, as always, and hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you soon.